What's going on, Pulsicans and Hexicans? How are we doing out there in crypto land today? Today is super exciting. I had a little bit of a technical difficulty there on the intro videos this morning because, man, my internet started going out right at the wrong time over here in Puerto Rico. We don't have the best internet with you. Starlink. Sometimes we get the clouds because we get a lot of rain here. But, man, it's super exciting times. We got a fun show for you guys. We are going to dive deep on how to defer our freaking taxes from this crypto market cycle, lock in that legacy wealth so we can roll that into some wealth preservation stuff. But first, guys, let's go and check out the secret chart. We're going to make sure we're not scammed and make sure we're still in the right place at the right time. Because remember, we are the one to change the trajectory of our family tree, our family lineage, break the chains, the curse of mediocrity forever on. So that way we're not debt slaves to the 9-to-5, debt slaves to the 401k retirement. That's what we're here to do, is create wealth creation. So let's check out the secret chart real quick, see how that is rolling. And I bet it's doing just fine, and it is. The W is playing out on the weekly. Once again, guys, for you, the ones you are new here, this is the pulse measured in ETH terms. It's put on the weekly in the line chart, so that way we keep things simple around here. This is multiple months that you're looking at, and we formed a nice W with a higher low in place against Ethereum, and that's very, very bullish long term, meaning this cycle. We just need to beat Ethereum at its own game, and because, well, for one, we know two entities that hold 317,000 Ethereum in their wallets that likes to buy our stuff. I'm not going to bet against those guys, I'll tell you that. I am going to keep dollar cost averaging in. Once again, it's never financial advice. I'm just a dude on the internet who speculates on his own money. And I like to get on here and have fun with you guys because you guys are the best crypto community, period. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's ADA. I don't care if it's XRP. I don't care if it's the Bitcoin maxis. Man, the Pulsicans and Hexicans are the best community, period, in my honest opinion. And man, guys, we're catching a nice bid in all the RH assets. Pulse being up 5% of the day. PulseX being up about 10% of the day. Making PulseX kicking ass, man. Let's go. I like that. Inc being up 8% of the day. I like to see that one kick ass, but it's being the lagger right now. Hex holding out, man. That's fine. I love it. Hex pumped about a 5-6x recently, so we don't need to always see it going straight up to the right, although it's nice. EHEX catching a bid today. And man, SolidX, guys, real quick. I was on with Randy. I was on, not on his show, but I was watching his show last night, Randy Hilarski. And the SolidX game that's coming out got me serious effing bullish, guys. Like, I'm so happy I hold a position. I know some of you guys don't like it, and that's fine. But man, literally owning SolidX is like owning shares in a casino. That's going to be on all the different layer 1 EVM chains that has a buy and burn, that buys and burns up SolidX and Inc. So I don't know, guys. I am super bullish on it. That's probably why we're seeing a pump. It's up 18% of the day to $22. We'll see what happens with this. It's my personal largest meme coin in my portfolio. You do what you want with that information. Once again, it's not financial advice. Go buy stocks and bonds or something. See how much legacy wealth you can get with that. But man, I'm super excited today because, guys, once again, we like wealth creation here in crypto. I know you guys do because that's exactly what we're doing, right? We're using cryptocurrency as a wealth creation tool, and then we're going to use real estate and other real world assets like oil and gas investments, business opportunities that we can go invest in. I did this roughly around 2 years ago. I bought into a startup It was great. I put 50 grand in. I got 2% of the company. And man, this company's worth about 200 million right now. I haven't been paid out yet, but I get residuals out of that. I mean, that was one of the best investments I ever made. So sometimes investing in businesses is a great opportunity too. And we'll talk about that today, of course, and how to do that. So you can really literally lock in that legacy wealth using this trust that we're going to talk about today. And this is where we're not paying, well, we're deferring. Let me clarify. We're going to bring up the expert here in a second. We're deferring those taxes down the road and letting that full economic energy that we pulled out of crypto. So if you pulled out $1 million out of crypto, now you get the leverage and use that full economic energy, that full $1 million to keep growing for you, keep compounding for you, keep making new wealth. And then you can go back into the crypto markets at the next bottom of the bear, all while not paying taxes, guys. And on that note, let me bring on the myth, the man, the legend, probably the best tax strategist, in my opinion, dude, because he is. He has to be the best tax strategist I know, because I've talked to a lot of people and not found a product like this. So my man, Chris Shakowitz, what's up, bro, man? How you doing, dude? Welcome to the stage. How you feeling today?
Feeling really good. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. It's exciting. This is round 2. I wanted to make sure we keep bringing you back on, so that way, any new viewers, listeners can get a hold of this, information and do what they want with it. And I think it's powerful, man. I tell them all the time, and I'll mention this before we dive deep into this stuff. If I would have known about this trust before I moved to Puerto Rico, I would have not moved to Puerto Rico. Point blank. It's just, I was looking for a product that allowed me to control my money and allow it to grow tax-free or tax-deferred. That's fine. And still have the access to pull out money whenever I want. And that's, I couldn't find it. I looked at the, what they call it, the Charitable Remainder Trust was one of them. And then in our community, we have what's called the Mountain Crypto Advisors Trust. And I have to look up and see exactly what that is. And I had an onboarding call with those guys. And I was like, man, it doesn't sound as good as Puerto Rico. But this one here, man, I would have literally had done this, and I'd still be living in Arizona today. But hey, I'm here for a reason, and I'll probably end up utilizing this trust once I leave Puerto Rico. So, man, go ahead and tell the audience a little bit about yourself. Like a 5-minute introduction again for anybody new here, and how you came upon this, and then we'll dive deep into how it works.
Yeah, well, my name is Chris Shakowitz, and I work for a company called defertax.com. That's also our website. So what we do is we're tax strategists. So we have about 40 different things we do from a tax perspective, whether it's real estate, businesses, crypto, or just people who have earned a lot of money. We basically help them save on taxes. So my background, I actually worked at Intel Corporation for 25 years. I was a director of application development when I retired. I managed a $40 million budget, made a good salary. I invested a lot in real estate while I was working at Intel. So I've done 5 multi-million-dollar 1031 exchanges. I've, basically invested in the markets. And when I left company, I retired kind of early because I didn't like the way the company was going. I didn't like the things they were asking me to do. They were asking me to basically lay off my staff and move everything to India. I said,
"Oh, jeez,
I quit."
Yeah.
Don't quit, stay just a couple months, and there's an early retirement thing that you'll qualify for. And it's like, okay, so that was kind of cool of my vice president, who was my direct manager. But I was I went to my place in Mexico for like a couple weeks, and then I came home and I was like bored, very bored. I wrote a couple science fiction novels actually, which have won some awards. And then I got kind of tired of just being in a room writing novels.
Do you make money off that, or are you making money off that? I just that's out of left field, but curious.
Not really. I did it for the fun of it, and then I found out I had to market it, and I didn't really like marketing on Facebook.
You mean there was a business behind it?
Yeah, there is a business behind it, and I didn't like that business because it was just me kind of alone, right? And so I've got 4 more books I've got laid out to finish writing at some point, but at the end of the day, I was looking around for something different to do, and I was looking to sell my real estate. I had my original primary residence in the middle of Silicon Valley in Santa Clara, California. And I went to sell it, and I was interviewing realtors, and one of these guys said, "Hey, I know this guy who can save money on the or basically defer the capital gains taxes in the sale of your house." Since
Like
I had,
what?
yeah, exactly. So, well, I bought this house for like 575. I sold it for 1.7, not because I'm brilliant or
Beautiful.
anything. It's just what the market did, right?
You were holding. Yeah.
Yeah, at the time that I owned that house, and I had rented it out for more than 5 years. So, long story short, that guy's now my business partner.
You're like, man, you saved me so much money. Let's go into business together.
Yeah. And then he and I basically went to a real estate conference where we met you and Dane.
Yep.
And then we kind of put this whole idea together, leveraging one of our solutions and basically putting it on steroids specifically for crypto.
I love it. And not specifically only for crypto, but for guys, for actual DeFi, decentralized finance, where the keys are separate from a centralized exchange and they're held, by you and Chris will dive into this. And literally you can participate directly on the blockchain, like AKA Pulse Chain. And what we do and love here, all these different assets that we're buying and selling and we're making money through and making passive income. Man, it's bonkers. All right, cool, man. Well, I see that we have a bit of a slide deck. You want me to go ahead and pop this guy up?
Yep.
Awesome.
All right. So we call this the DeFi Wealth Trust. And so essentially, it's kind of giving you the ability to move back and forth between the crypto world and, the real world. So getting into things like real estate and other physical assets, businesses, basically everything that Corey and Dean have been talking about. So did you know you can sell your crypto, real estate, businesses, and more, and do it all without paying tax? So you can sell crypto and buy real estate, or buy a business, then you can sell that real estate or business and buy crypto. So you can go back and forth and still defer the taxes.
Beautiful.
So here's some examples. Basically this is going from real estate to crypto. You can also sell the crypto and buy real estate. You can sell the crypto, buy a business. So you want to buy and sell different asset types. You want to hold cash during market downturns. You want to have a vulture fund to basically pounce on a good deal, no matter what type of asset that is. That's what this trust is ultimately designed to do, to allow you to move back and forth between asset classes without paying the tax now. So it is deferred, which means at some point it is due. However, really what happens is the government is giving you a 0% loan. So based on the structure that we have set up. And then you can basically go invest all of your money, get a return on all of your money, and then basically defer it again and defer it again. And literally with this trust, you could defer it for your life, your children's lives, your children's lives, if you want to.
I love that. I love that. And that's what I'll stop there real quick, guys. And it's one of the most things I'm passionate about on this show is locking in that legacy wealth, being the one to break the chains of mediocrity. I always say that God's got a chosen one in every family lineage. I know I'm not chosen one in mine. You guys here are the chosen ones too, because you are in crypto. Now, there are the guys who will want to go and take their $1 million or $2 million or whatever they make in crypto this cycle, and they want to go blow it on Lamborghinis and hookers and blow. This would not be for you. This trust is not, for somebody who wants to do that. This trust is for somebody who really has that long-term mindset, that delayed gratification mindset, which we all know I learned from Hex and Richard Hart. That's what this is. It's to lock in those gains for legacy wealth. I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking profits. If you want to pull out $100,000, take that nice vacation, you go and spend some money in your family, create some memories. That's great. But remember, you're going to be paying taxes on that $100,000 that you pull out. If I'm not mistaken, Chris, that's called self-enriching. Is that what they refer that to?
Yeah, at the end of the day, when anything comes out of the trust that's not going into an investment, that's basically going to you personally and then becomes taxable. So if you're buying a primary residence, you're buying a Lamborghini, you're going on a vacation, whatever, you're basically taking possession of the cash, and that's the way the tax code works. If you take possession or control of the money, then you pay tax on it.
Okay, great, cool.
So you might be thinking at this point, well, will this work for me? And why should I believe you? And if this were real, I'd know about it already. I'm not a tax expert. Well, one thing I can say is this underlying solution that we use in this case is something I have done personally with the sale of that house in Santa Clara. So I know it works because I did it.
Right.
So you don't need to have a 4-year degree, and you don't need years of experience. You don't need luck, and you don't need to be a tax expert, because
That's what we got you for.
Exactly. That's why we put all this stuff together. Yeah, I've got more than a 4-year degree and lots of years of experience. What you do need is you need education on what's possible. We really view ourselves as educators. We teach people what is possible. We want to answer your questions. You don't like it, don't do it. We're not here to shove anything down anybody's throat. If this is uncomfortable in any way, we just say, okay, that's fine. Don't do it. So
I love it. And they book a call with you real quick. That's kind of on the same kind of page here. It's free, right? It's just free to have a conversation. Man, I'll tell you a quick story. And this was gangster, man, what they did to me. For me to book a call with the Mountain Crypto Advisors, which was that other trust that I was exploring with, they charged me $550 just to book the call.
Wow.
I was just like, God, man, it's gangster. And maybe it's because they don't want people wasting their time. I understand that part, but man, it makes it tough. To have a conversation. To see if you're the right fit, right? All you want to do is see if you're the right fit for this type of tax strategy. So
that's why we don't charge, because basically we're not in it for the short-term gratification, like you were saying. We're really looking at putting strategies together that are going to help people, change their lives. So what you need to be successful, you need to be educated on what is possible, and that's what we do. You need to save on taxes and then reinvest that savings, like you said. Don't just go off and blow it. You need to see how the big guys do it, and you need the same tax strategies that the big guys have. So our resorts are not typical. They do vary. So,
it's not financial advice, right?
Yeah. Well, in this case, in a way it is, but
it is from Chris, but not for me. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. So basically who we're working with is, I don't know if you guys know that Dane was previously a real estate entrepreneur, done over 300 real estate transactions. Corey also is a real estate entrepreneur. He's done over 1,000 real estate transactions. So these guys have history. Like I said, I met them actually at a real estate conference, and this is a pretty high-end conference. We pay
apartment syndication type of mastermind. Great mastermind too, by the way. Love that group. But
so my partner and I are to be in that group. We pay $2,000 a month.
Yep.
$24,000 a year to be in that group. So it's a serious group. So who's this training for? It's really for investors that are trying to grow their wealth. They're tired of paying Uncle Sam taxes when they didn't need to. And this is a really interesting story. So we were presenting to this group of realtors, and we were talking about saving on taxes. This one guy gets up and goes, "What's wrong with paying taxes?" Well, there's nothing wrong with paying taxes unless you didn't need to.
Right. Jeez.
They're looking to optimize their crypto gains and have a genuine desire to achieve financial freedom. Like
there it is. Beautiful.
It's not for if you're really looking to go get rich quick. This really isn't it. This is a long-term play. Yeah. And you just want to learn something new. Great, go on the internet and have fun. And we're not ready to take action because there is some work that you have to do to make this work. And anyone who is comfortable, if you're comfortable with the status quo, well, then stick with it.
Stick with it. Not for you. Yep.
So what we're going to do is we're going to cover how to pay zero taxes on the sale of your crypto, how to buy other asset types with the crypto proceeds, and how to buy back your crypto in the next cycle. So the whole idea here, guys, is that we want to be able to go through your crypto, exit at a great point, go get into other asset types while crypto's not the place to be, and then be able to get back again and just cycle.
Love
and basically, like Corey was saying, you can take profits along the way. You can improve your lifestyle. It's up to you, because this is ultimately always your money. It's never not your money. So if you decide you want to take it, and like you said, buy a Lambo, buy hookers and blow,
That's it. To each their own.
Exactly. Okay. So how do I exit my crypto investments if I have to pay taxes on my crypto profits? Well, essentially, let's say you had 100K in crypto, and that turned into 500K. So you've got a $400,000 capital gain, right? Well, if you did the federal tax of 20%, the Obamacare 3.8%, your state is anywhere between Usually it's around 5%, and California's the high at 14.
14 Brazology.
You're losing. And so if you average this out, it's about 29% of your money, of your profits, is being lost. And then you're essentially trying to make that back in the next round, right? That's right off the top. Well, basically with this trust, all those taxes are deferred. So there are some setup fees, right? But when you basically go into this trust, you're essentially not paying any of those taxes. So that 29% or more is staying in your pocket and then basically going into your investments. So if I had a 200K crypto investment, I got 800K profit. If I paid the tax, that 29% would be 232,000. So I've got about 768,000 left. With the DeFi Wealth Trust, you got $1 million.
Get the full $1 million.
So you're basically keeping that investment and then growing it. So you're compounding essentially what you would have given to the IRS.
Exactly. That's massive. That is so massive.
So basically, what can you invest in? It's stocks, bonds, ETFs, alternatives, real estate, businesses, almost anything you can think of to invest in, you can actually invest in through this trust. This trust's whole sole business purpose is to invest on your behalf. So when that $1 million goes in, what it does is it basically invests on your behalf. So it's looking to basically grow that $1 million for you and with you. The only person it's beholden to is you. You are essentially the owner, and you can decide to leave the money in there and let it grow, or you can decide to take it out and pay the tax. So how can I diversify that crypto investment without paying the taxes on it? Well, in the same example that I said before, basically we're moving money to the real world, right, from the crypto world, and then we're investing it. Unfortunately, the slide's getting cut off a little bit. But basically, in this particular case, you could take out 800,000 and go make a real estate purchase. Now, we got some guys that I've met from this community that are doing some house flipping. This is really great for basically going out and doing either a ground up construction or doing an investment in a flip, because essentially you're not going to have to pay the carrying cost of hard money loans on getting that flip. You'll be able to take the money and essentially pay yourself the interest.
That's great.
Same thing with a business. I had one guy, he had a couple million basically in a trust, and he wanted to buy this business. He's buying it for 800K. He needed he's buying it for 500K. He wanted 300K for operating expenses for the first year because he was really going to change the business. So he took 800K out of the trust, invested it in this business. Then basically when he improved the business about 3 years later, he turned around and sold it. He turned that 800K into over 2.5 million.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, that's the power of what you can do here.
Yeah.
So how do I sell my investment and reinvest into crypto without paying taxes? Well, essentially, if you took that money basically from real estate or from crypto and went into real estate, then essentially you'd sell the real estate, and we have the methodology basically to help you take that back into crypto. You could take, some, none, some, all, or none of it. So like I've been talking to a couple people that think they're going to have a couple million basically on the crypto exit. They want to take about half of that, put it into some real estate. When they sell the real estate, they want to go back into crypto. But in the meantime, for that $1 million that's left in the trust, they're looking at taking a couple 100,000. And when crypto's like in the bottom, they want to go take that out and put it back into crypto.
Absolutely.
We can do. Now, the trust has to keep some money in it because otherwise it looks like a sham to the IRS. So some investments have to stay in the trust. But essentially, that's 20 to 30%. And it is invested and still making money.
So 20% can stay there working for you. Is that like kind of the bare minimum then?
Yeah. So if you're a sophisticated real estate investor, we can take 80% out of the trust. If you're brand new at this, we'll say 70% just to try to make sure and protect you.
That way, if there's a loss,
right,
you have a padding. I got it. Right.
All right. So basically, this person did a 800,000 purchase. They did a 1 million sale. The trust already had 200,000 in it, plus it was growing. So when they put that $1 million back in, they now have 1.2 million. Then they decide to basically take some of that 1.2 million, let's say 80% of it, go back into crypto. Some of it stays in the bank. Some of it goes back into crypto. This is an example of somebody's trying to do extreme optimizing on both sides, right?
Yep.
Now, like I said, you could do some, all, or none. So are you guys excited yet?
Let's go. I am. I love this.
Any questions in the chat?
Yeah, we could I'm sure some guys, if you have questions on anything about the trust, any specifics, obviously I don't know. Chris is here, so go ahead and ask because he's a professional. He understands this stuff at a very deep level. The one question I know that some of you guys will have is that you're thinking, okay, what's the minimum? And I won't have the minimum because the minimum is 500 grand. But guys, 500 grand is the value when you start the trust. Remember, you're not actually starting the trust or putting money into it until the top of the bull run. So this is after you've made your gains. So say you start out today, for easy math, with 50 grand portfolio, and you went and got yourself a 10X and sold the perfect 10X top, you would have 500 grand. And when you're selling that 10X or exiting that portfolio, you'd want to do that in the DeFi Wealth Trust to get the tax benefit. Am I accurate with that there, Chris?
Yeah. So essentially what we do is we have you put the coins you want to sell into an LLC, and the trust is going to buy that LLC and then keep you as a manager. So when you have this LLC, you'd be a managing member. And by the way, we could help you set all this up. It's not a problem. Great. So, and when we keep you on as a managing member after the trust buys it, you're going to want to buy like a month or more in advance of when you want to sell. And the whole idea is that you'll always keep control of the keys. It's not your keys, not your crypto, no problem. You're the only one who has control of these keys.
You hear that, guys? You control the keys on this.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Self-custodian.
Very different from what other people are doing.
Yep.
So basically we bring you on as a manager. So your sole job is to just sell that crypto whenever you think is the right time. So we'll buy the trust. Let's say it was worth 50K. We're going to give you a note for 50K. And then when you sell, it's 500. Great. So then as you're selling, we're going to keep track of those things, basically going from the current coin to the stable coin. You don't want to go to a stable coin before the trust buys it because that's the taxable event. You want to move the coins over into a wallet that's under your LLC. We buy that LLC, then you start to sell.
Love that.
That defers the taxes. Then you can stack up the stable coin and then start basically selling it to convert it to real world fiat.
It's beautiful. All right, I got a couple questions here from the chat. Veritia, sorry if I'm butchering your name. V, I'll call you V for short. She's wondering how it works in the UK. This is not, you can't do this in UK. Am I accurate? This is only US, right?
Yeah, this is US states and territories, US tax return. So if you have a US tax return, we could do it. Well, the problem is you have to have a US citizen with a US tax return.
Yeah, Cryptodamus also asked, can you recommend someone in Europe that's offering something like this? Do you know, are you familiar with that?
No, but I haven't asked, so I can ask.
Yeah, ask around.
You know that we've got one guy from Canada who basically is working in the US, has a US work visa, has a US tax ID, and he can do it because he's actually got a US tax ID and is working in the US.
Got it. That makes sense. Most nations have like their own like trust, or like even like most places have even like a Puerto Rico that you can go to where you get this, tax savings. Like, yeah, it'll be interesting what the UK and Europe has. I mean, I have no idea.
Yeah. I don't.
Nice asked. He had a call with a Wayne last night. Is 1,200? So my question from this is 1,200. Is that going to be the average cost to set up the LLC?
Yeah, the cost of setting up the LLC, like for their state. So each state has its own cost, right? So like in California, the cost just to set up the LLC is $800. So it would be more than that. So some states are higher and lower. Wyoming, Nevada, Utah, they're all relatively low. They're like $280 to $300 for the state tax portion of it. But yeah, about $1,200, and then might be a little bit more depending on your state and how much they charge to actually set up the LLC.
Got it. Brizology, he's got jokes. He wants to know what you think about the Ink token.
Well, I'm definitely not the expert. I'm following Dane and Corey.
He has some in his portfolio, Brizology. He has some in his portfolio. Here's a good one. Francis asked, can you buy whole life insurance policies with this?
Um, Basically, the short answer is yes, but where it makes sense to do it, I mean, basically, you've got a tax deferred platform. So if you're buying life insurance inside of the tax deferred platform to essentially take loans against the insurance policy, doesn't really make sense. You might, as because you're going to make a lot more money than on an insurance policy by doing your investments in the trust. You won't have to pay tax on. See, basically, the trust has two deferrals. There's the initial purchase, and then the second deferral is anything inside the trust grows tax deferred also, which
Yeah.
is, it makes it like an IRA, only it's way better than an IRA because you can invest in anything. So
Right.
basically, that life insurance strategy, I'm going to blow that out of the water. I mean,
Ah,
we'll make way more money not doing the life insurance strategy. However,
there you go.
where it starts to make sense is when you can start to do premium financing. What does that mean? Well, if you're in the 10 million range with your trust or more, what we do is we allow the trust to take out an insurance policy. Now, the way this works is we'll do like the trust is at that level is going to be throwing off a lot of cash every year, right?
Yes.
So what you can do is to take a 10-pay policy where you're doing like 100,000 or a 200,000 premium each year. If you do a $200,000 life insurance policy with the trust, investing in that policy without premium financing, it's going to net in 15 years, it'll generate about $6 million.
Wow.
Now,
Incredible.
you do premium financing, that same payment out is going to generate about $25 million. And the reason why is because what you're doing is your premium, instead of buying a premium and life insurance, you're going to use it to pay a loan that buys you the premium.
Got it.
So you're going to be highly leveraged. And then what you do is eventually, after about 15 years, the life insurance policy's generated enough income where you basically use its cash value to pay off the loan. And what's left, that residual, is 20 to 25 million.
Oh, wow. That's almost like free money at that point.
Yeah.
The way it works. Oh, you see, guys, why you have to surround people who understand this stuff better than you do. Like, that's why you go to the professionals. Chris has done his 10,000 hours. You could tell.
Yeah.
Like, that is like, he understands this stuff at a very deep level, or like, he literally just blew my mind right there. That's awesome. Francis, I hope you kind of understood that a little bit. And, obviously you can book a call with Chris too if you have any more questions. Brizology, I like this. Selling crypto to buy a business reminds me of the story of the Mexican fisherman and the American businessman, where the American tries to convince the fisherman to start this huge business so he can retire and fish all day. Yep. There's some truth to that.
Remember, I mean, there's buying the business and then buying yourself a full-time job.
Right.
And then there's buying the business like you did as an incremental partner, right?
Yep. A limited partner. That's my favorite way to get into any business or syndication or fund. Like, I don't want to be involved in the day-to-day. I just want to, like, hey, here's some money. Go make more money and pay me money. That's what I like. I like that.
Yeah. I already did the managing, 120 people in different parts of the world with my $30 budget and all that.
I mean, I'm sure you were compensated well, sir, for that. I know you were, but like, that is brain damage.
Well, see, I really liked what I did because we were like, I worked on when Microsoft was inventing basically the laptop. I was involved in it, the operating system, and Intel was inventing, basically, they would invent the technology that you would be using 10 years from now.
Wow.
So actually their product cycle is a 10-year cycle. So they're spending time today figuring out what are we going to need 10 years from now.
Man, so if you want to know what the future looks like, just go work for those guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's a good question. Big Calzone. What is the tax rate once you take the cash out of the trust? Is it still considered capital gains?
Yeah. So essentially the way that it works is the way it went in is the way it comes out. So if it went in short-term capital gains, it comes out short-term capital gains. If it goes in long-term capital gains, it comes out long-term capital gains.
Interesting. Let's pause this real quick. I really want to emphasize on that right there, guys. Short-term capital gains works exactly, and Chris, you can correct me if I get this wrong, but it works exactly like almost like income, where you have a job and you're making money, or a business and bringing in money, and you're going to get taxed on that revenue or income. That's how short-term capital gains is the highest tax bracket. And then long term is when it's over, when you have something invested over a year, that tax bracket goes from like, you can correct me, Chris, it's like around 30% down to like 20%.
Yeah,
as far as capital gains are concerned.
For everyone not in Puerto Rico, the income tax.
Puerto Rico, a different story, man. We're out here soaking up the sun on the beaches and not paying no taxes. It's great.
Yeah, but essentially the capital gains tax I'm showing on the screen. So for the long-term capital gains tax, it's 20% federal, 3.8% Obamacare, and then plus whatever your state charges.
Long-term meaning over a year. I really emphasize on that. But so a lot of you guys will be holding some of your assets for over a year, unless you're there, you know, being a degen and cheating your bags and buying back in. I mean, that's not my viewers. My viewers here have long-term mindsets. So
yeah. So then the short term is the same as whatever your income is for wherever you are. So if you're making, you know, if you're married making more than 500K, you're going to be, well, I think it's 600K this year or next year. I can't remember. But anyway, over that threshold, it's 37% federal. And then your state just charges it as same as income.
Right.
So basically, if you've got short-term capital gains, you could be, in some states, you're well over 50% taxes, where long-term capital gains, you're in this 29 to 30% range.
Right. And this is when we're talking about pulling out. So
now, I do want to share one thing that's really important. With this trust, when you take the money out, you take the money out based on where you are. So if you're living in California with the highest taxes in the freaking planet, like I left. But essentially, when you basically sell whatever you sell and put it into the trust, now let's say I move to Arizona, where Arizona is a 2.5% state tax instead of 14, right? So I take that money out when I'm in Arizona. If it goes in, by the way, when the trust earns income, it's going to also be just ordinary income. So it gets taxed the way it came in when it goes out. So if the trust is earning income and we're paying you a note, let's say we're paying you 7% per year on $1 million, so that's $70,000 a year. So we're paying you that $70,000 a year. If it's income, then it's just ordinary income. But you could leave the income in the trust and let it grow. Once a year, you could say, you know what, I'm going to do a capital gain distribution. I'm going to take out 100,000 of my original capital gain. Well, if you do that, you're going to pay the tax for the state that you're in that year. So you could have lived in New York and then moved to Florida, and then essentially you earned it making, 9% state tax or whatever. And in Florida, there's no state tax. So when you take it out, you're only going to pay the capital gain. And based on your salary, that capital gain starts at 0%, then it goes 15, then it goes 20. So if you're taking small enough amounts out, you need to work with your CPA.
Oh, interesting. That's a good point.
Yeah. So I think it's 80K if you're married or 70K if you're married. But basically, if you take that amount out, it's actually zero tax on the capital gain.
Yeah, that is a very interesting. Man, see, this is wow.
So for people who are retiring, we would work out that type of thing. For people who are investing, just use this like a vulture fund. We're going to go out and we're going to go, slam the next investment, go get the highest percentage back, put it back in the trust. Don't, defer the tax, go out and do the next thing, whether it's real estate, it's businesses, it's, crypto, other investments. I have one guy who basically wants to set up a business that the trust will fund, and he's doing hard money lending.
That's a great strategy, guys. Hard money lending is where you're lending the house flippers, money to do those rehabs and flip those houses, some other stuff too. But in general, it's a great way to make passive income because you're just the money in deals. You're getting, 10, 12, 14% on your money while it's out there working for you. And I love that strategy.
Yeah. And we know companies where you don't even have to manage the flippers. You can invest in that company and they'll pay you 10%.
That's great. Yeah, I love that.
So that they have the cash to do the flipping, right?
So many opportunities. Far Out Aliens, this is pretty crazy. He says, my CPA and trust attorney charged me $200,000 and didn't set up or file my taxes. What the heck did you pay $200,000 for?
Yeah, that's wild.
And so obviously he's also asking, how do we get in touch with this tax professional?
Well, I want to be clear. My licensing, I'm not a CPA. So we work with a lot of good CPAs and we help the CPAs understand, how to do this stuff. But my licensing is actually investment advisor, so I'm registered with FINRA, which is through the SEC. But we can definitely give you advice on ways to go. And if we need to involve an attorney, we have attorneys, or you can use an attorney that you like. Some stuff you want to do in the state that you live in. Some stuff we can do, like if you're doing any business work, like setting up those LLCs, we've got this company that basically does it at a really good price.
Oh, okay, cool. That's excellent. Brizology said, bro, ink is not a joke, sir. He's right. I have a lot of ink tokens. I am super excited for what ink's going to do with this market cycle. Briz, ink could be the reason why you need this trust.
Yeah, right.
Just saying, bro. I don't know. And Brizology lives out in California, man. He's a good dude. We love Briz. Joe says 100% inclusion rate versus 20% inclusion rate. Inclusion rate is amount that is added to your income with your W-2. You want to comment on this?
Not sure where he's going with this, but there is no inclusion rate with the trust. Basically, 100% would be able to move over. Some of that would be your original basis. Some of that is your gain. When money goes into the trust, like let's say you had 200,000 in, and then you sold the coin for $1 million, and you put that $1 million into the trust. Well, you have a 20% basis. So when you take that capital gain out of the trust, only 80% of it is actually taxable, because the other 20% was your money. Now,
right.
Crypto, that's usually not a big factor, because usually that basis is not so big, but there are no inclusion rates. So I'm not quite sure what that's referring to. I'd have to talk to him.
Okay. And guys, we're going to post his contact info where you can book a call with him direct and go deeper in on this stuff. Brizology said, California can only collect the taxes you give them.
Yeah.
Briz,
well,
that is completely up to you what you do over there. We don't give any advice around that.
Well, in California, they're one of the toughest ones in terms of tracking people down.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, there's a lot of money at stake. This is something good. Joe pointed out Canadians, and so for you Canadians on here, I don't know if Fast Abdul's here today. You can get exposure to crypto via Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, ETFs. So it's not DeFi. I don't like that part, but through the RRSP and TFSA tax-free. I don't know what that is. I don't know if you do, Chris, but could be some good info for our Canadian viewers. Red Squirrel says 29% long-term. That's way more than short-term in UK. Oh, yeah, that's right. Red Squirrel's in the UK. And once again, now the DeFi, I must have a lot of UK viewers. I didn't realize this. This is cool, guys. I didn't realize how many of you guys from the UK watched my show. That was mostly Americans. Maybe not. Maybe it's that's what's great about crypto. It's worldwide. Chris, I tell people all the time, when I got into real estate over a decade ago, it made me friends all over the United States, like great relationships by being a mastermind. Getting into crypto, man, has made me friends and relationships all over the world. It is insane what this asset class and how it unites the world. I mean, it's what DeFi is it's worldwide. It's not owned by anywhere. Although some people, like three-letter agencies, like to think that blockchains are owned in certain countries. And that's not true. And our Auntie Judge Carol pointed that out the other day. She even said, she's like, where does the blockchain live now?
Yeah.
I almost imagined her in court, and I know you might not get this, Chris, but like I almost imagined her in court with Richard Hart's attorneys pointing to a doll and going, hey, did the blockchain hurt you here? I'm going to hurt you here. It was so good, dude. I was like, oh, we're so winning this shit. And Mr. O'Ginzer's out of here anyways.
Yep.
Because crypto is winning the election.
Yes. The guy in charge of the IRS is actually leaving too.
Yeah, man, a lot of change, man. Next year is going to be exciting. There might be some bumps in the road, like always. I never get too optimistic. I want to stay realistic, but I definitely think 2025 is going to be bright. Yep, we'll add a contact information here for you guys. I'm American, so we're good. Bright Light, make sure to book a call. Bright Light Crypto, I have a feeling you're definitely going to need this trust when the time comes. Hope to see you in Panama too, Bright Light. I'll be out there. Real quick plug on that, guys. I'll be out in Panama at the end of January for the No Permissions event and actually be speaking at the event. And guess what I'm going to be talking about? One, onboarding, how we onboard into this DeFi crypto space, mainly Pulse Chain. And two, I'm going to talk about the trust. I'm going to go deep on that while I'm there, and so that way you guys can, get a better idea. And Joe says an RRSP is the equivalent to US IRA. Oh, a TFSA is the equivalent to the US Roth. Oh
yeah. So you can do a self-directed Roth IRA and then be tax-free. Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. Okay. I didn't know that Canada allowed those. Yeah, it sounds like ETFs only or related ETF products. So,
see, that's what's different with the U.S. is you can do a self-directed IRA and then you can invest in anything. You're not limited to ETFs.
Yeah, exactly. And I love this because, man, guys, DeFi, control your own keys. You go in and participate in the stuff that we know, love, and trust, right? Like, this is what makes it so powerful. Literally, guys, I would have not moved to Puerto Rico if I knew about this before. But it's okay. It's okay. I have it now, and now it allows me to move out of Puerto Rico. Is what it's going to allow me to do. You have any more slides for us? Is this the last one? You can continue on if you want.
Okay. I was just looking at my contact thing to share. Let's see.
Yeah, I could drop that in the chat whenever you're ready.
This one. So this is just an example. If you had $1 million that was 30% taxable and you went over a number of years, and if you were able to reinvest the cash with a 50% gain each year, then that's multiple deals each year, right?
Yep.
Essentially, if you had to pay that tax, you'd end that 3-year cycle, really kind of 4 years, but with about 1.7 million. If you did the exact same thing without paying the taxes, you'd have 2.7 million. So that's the power of this, is that essentially you're keeping more of that money working for you. Therefore, it's going to compound faster.
Yes. That's exactly what this is about, man, is, compounding that legacy wealth, locking it in. I have no intentions for me. This is me personally. And it's just where I'm the stage of I'm at in my life, right? I'm 47. I've got 2 daughters. I'm locking these gains in, and I'm going to create legacy wealth. Like, I have no interest in buying like a bunch of Lamborghinis, a yacht, and a mansion, right? And I just don't. That's just not what I'm going to do with this money coming up on this cycle. It's just I'd rather, I'm going to create memories and experiences with my loved ones and do vacations and trips, and we're going to have a good time. But most of that money will be locked in with stuff like this. So
basically, I putting a link in the chat, which is
put it in the private, and then I can post it.
Okay, and that's to basically set up an appointment. So this is my busiest time of year because we do a lot of tax deferral for people making more than 500,000. So my calendar is really slammed right now. But the best way to get hold of me is use that link to get an appointment and to see, what's available that works for you.
Perfect. Also, real quick, I want to touch on this, Chris. To set it to initially have the phone call and get things rolling, there's no cost in the beginning, right? The costs are associated once you sell said crypto and you trigger the trust, like when it's, is that accurate?
Yeah. So we literally are charging you. The only cost to you is be setting up that LLC. And then basically you set up the wallet on the central exchange. You could use your same hardware wallet, or you can do a separate one. That's entirely up to you. When the trust buys the LLC and therefore buys the crypto, still no cost. You start selling the crypto, still no cost. When we start putting the stable coins into the real world fiat currency, that's when we do the charges.
That's when the charges occur. And then what's great about that, guys, is you already qualify for the trust. You have over 500 grand because you've made your gains.
Right.
Like, now you can come in and lock those gains in, pay the marginal fees that are associated with it, and then keep growing that money, locking that wealth in. Tax-free, deferred. I like to say tax-free because it's tax-free at that time. It's deferred. I get it. But it doesn't matter like that. the power of that compound effect is actually what sold me, Chris. When I came out here to Puerto Rico, we were sitting out here with a bunch of Mexicans, and we're out here and we're kind of like talking about each other's portfolios and like the money we have in it. I was like, yeah, I might pay, somewhere between, I don't know, 500 grand to, maybe over 7 figures in taxes. But I mean, I'm going to have this amount of money, so it doesn't really matter. They're like, oh, Corey, wait, stop. And they're like, wait, do you leave money in the bank? I was like, no, my money's always working for me, whether it's, crypto, real estate, business. They're like, then don't you see the power of this by being out here in Puerto Rico? It's like, if you save only 500 grand in taxes, well, that money gets to stay out there working for you, reinvested and growing, and then you can keep growing that wealth. And they said, literally the money you don't pay the 3-letter agency and you compound that money is the money you can leave down to your children and your legacy wealth. I was like, holy crap. That's when the light bulb really went on for me. And I ran right home. We were in an Airbnb here in Puerto Rico at the time. Me and my wife were exploring the idea, and I ran home and I opened my laptop and I showed her my portfolio, and I kind of talked through some of those ideas. And she was sold instantly too. She goes, we're not going home, are we? I'm like, I don't think you need to. No, it's powerful, man. This stuff is seriously powerful. I mean, to be able to grow your wealth at this rate, just because you're not paying the 3-letter agency at that time, is amazing. And maybe most of this money through your lifetime, and tell me if this is a reality, Chris, but like maybe most of the money in here that you're putting in here throughout your lifetime, you might not ever pay taxes on because you never took it out. Like the money you took out, that support yourself, create good memories with your family, your loved ones, but there's going to be a bulk of it and they're always working. And that money, you might not ever be responsible for paying taxes on that. Would you say that could be pretty accurate?
That's the game, right? That's definitely a scenario that is very doable. In addition to that, you can basically put some rules around it. And you say, okay, this is going to be inherited by my heirs. There's this story of the Vanderbilts versus the Rockefellers, right?
Yeah.
So the Vanderbilts basically gave money to their kids and they kind of blew it. And now there's not very many rich Vanderbilts. The Rockefellers have 230 people living off of a trust that was set up by the original Rockefeller. And basically his whole design was you can draw income off of it, but you can't go take the original principal. So that principal kept growing, which is why it's now able to support, quite well support the lifestyles of, 230 people.
Wow. Boom, baby. That was a golden nugget for when your guys are creating this and you're going through life, something to think about when you're leaving these down, to your next generation. Holy crap, that is powerful. Just don't touch the principal. Let it keep working for you. That way you don't have to work.
Yeah, exactly.
That is great, man. Well, cool. Let's see. We got anything else in the comments? Denmark takes 50% in high income. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Denmark is ridiculous.
But that's the same as California.
Oh my word. Yeah.
Actually, I have a friend who in the 90s, he was a consultant in Canada. And once he made a certain amount, 90% of it went to taxes. So he never worked more than that amount. He would just take the rest of the year off.
What's the point?
Yeah.
You're giving it all away to a person or an entity that never partnered with you on that business. They never invested with you in that investment. And here you go. You're like, okay, they show up at your doorstep and you got to pay them no matter what. It's like, no.
And he's flying all over the world, working long hours and stuff. And so why do that?
That is crazy.
That's
guys,
the fundamental problem with taxes.
Yeah, guys, any last questions for Chris? We got to wind it down here in a couple minutes. I got a hard stop in 3 minutes. Anything else, guys? Once again, you can book the call with him here. I'm going to drop it one more time in the chat. Guys, if you're outside of the United States, I'm sorry to say, don't book the call with him because I don't think there's anything he can do for your situation. If you're in the UK, if you're in Denmark, if wherever you're at, Europe, it's just not going to be something that you don't have any strategies for those folks. Is that accurate? I just want to make sure
I don't. I can look around though, and maybe we can next time I come back on, we'll see if I can find anything.
That'd be great. And guys, we're going to have Chris on a regular basis because I want to make sure that I'm seeding this into your heads, the wealth preservation side, because guys, we're already started the wealth creation process. You guys, we're freaking green again today. We've been green for, I don't know how long now. It feels like a couple of weeks. It's been awesome. Just waiting for that ETH BTC ratio to flip, and then it's freaking really game on. So guys, you got the wealth creation shit down, man. This is great. Wealth creation, though, is typically the easy part when it comes to being a multimillionaire and locking that money in for your life. Remember, you got to become a millionaire here and here first before you can become a millionaire here. That's why you see like the rappers or the pop stars or the NFL players, they get rich. And then what do? They go and destroy their lives and lose all that money. And it's because they never became a millionaire here or here. They never did the work. They never did the planning, the strategies that we talk about on this show. And that's really where the rubber meets the road, guys. You guys are going to do wealth creation. You need to preserve that wealth, man. A lot of you guys got kids, families. You guys got mortgages, right? You got 9 to 5s. You want that escape velocity out of your 9 to 5. Guys, this is the tools that you need. Then you need to start thinking about using. Don't take out the $1 million, $2 million, $5 million out of crypto in 2025 and go buy freaking Lamborghinis. Like if you want to buy one and you're going to let the rest of the money work for you, okay, maybe, depending how much you made. But like, guys, think about wealth preservation. This is what I'm so passionate about, leaving this generations to come. I say it all the time on this show. I feel like every family lineage has that one risk taker that goes out and is able to break the chains of mediocrity for their family for forever on. Right. And set a new standard in that family lineage. And you can be that one, literally can be that one. And it starts by understanding and utilizing these tools. And we don't have to understand that at the highest level. That's why we have Chris. Like we just got to bring guys smarter than us in, utilize them, and then participate. That's simple. So any last parting words, Chris, before we hop off?
No, everybody I've ever talked to from this community has been a great person. I enjoy talking to you guys. And even if you just want to get an overview, and just kind of understand things, happy to have a conversation. If you're just going to have a conversation, let's do it after December 15th.
Yeah.
That's right now till then is my busiest time, but that doesn't mean that I won't talk with you. So feel free to schedule a time.
Excellent. One more. Joe asked, are the spots on the calendar accurate? So he's asked, is the times on there? It should.
Yeah, it adjusts to your time zone.
Adjust to your time zone. Yeah. That's what I thought. Because it's like a calendar, right?
Right. It's like that, but it's go ahead.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Joe, if you're serious about actually creating this and you think it's I would do it before December 15th if you're really serious about creating it. He's saying if you want to like just have a more of a conversation type piece about it, but like literally, guys, you want to get on the ball with this if you're serious about it, because if you wait too late, his calendar's gonna be freaking wrecked, guys. His calendar's gonna be wrecked. Everyone's gonna be jumping on trying to get in front of you. Like get this started now when no one's thinking about it. Once again, it's like when you buy your crypto, you're buying your crypto when no one's thinking about it. Start preparing for this when no one's thinking about it. Because if you wait too late, I mean, it's gonna be he's one guy, plus he's got a small team, but like you're gonna wreck his calendar. So be mindful of that.
Yeah. So definitely, I want to encourage you to call if you want to get started.
Yes.
Just if you're on the fence and you just want to chat, let's do that after December 15th.
Awesome, guys. So once again, book a call with them. I'm going to drop it one more time for the heck of it. You guys didn't receive it. Just copy and save it if you're and post it in your browser to open up the link. And I'm going to, like I said, we'll have them on again in the future to talk more about wealth preservation. And guys, we're going to stop on that note. I gotta get out of here. Remember, if you want to 10x your portfolio in the bear market, just 10x the value you bring in your life to your community, your fellow man, your fellow woman, aka you'll receive money back for that value. And then you can invest in crypto and 10x your life, and then use the wealth preservation trust to 100x your family lineage. That's how we do it around here on the DeFi Crypto Alliance show. Guys, I'm going to check out of here. Chris, thank you so much. I appreciate you, my friend. It's been a pleasure. We'll have you on here probably the next month or so.
All right. Sounds good. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.